This human may look harmless, small, and easy to overlook. But she is not what you think, because in a galaxy full of predators, humans carry a reputation that scares almost everyone they meet. Zara knew this better than anyone. To her own species, she was nothing unusual. But out here, far from Earth, every alien who saw her assumed she was moments away from attacking them. And the strange part? It wasn't the danger that bothered her. It was the constant misunderstanding, the whispers, the stares, and the way every cadet acted like she might explode at any moment. Zara lived with this every single day. Being human meant being treated like a walking weapon, even though she was just trying to do her job. She didn't enjoy the fear, the avoidance, or the way aliens stepped aside whenever she walked through the halls. What really got under her skin was the endless underestimation. Everyone expected her to be dangerous, but no one expected her to be useful. They didn't understand her. They only feared what she could do, and that fear came with stakes far bigger than her own comfort. Because if Zara failed to handle predator species correctly, especially the vipers, the consequences wouldn't be small. One wrong move happened. If she approached them the wrong way, or if she reacted out of instinct, entire delegations could fall apart. The Academy's safety could collapse. Old tensions between species could explode into conflict again. In a galaxy this large and this fragile, one misunderstanding was all it took to break the peace. That's why her role mattered. If humans and vipers couldn't learn to trust each other, if two predator species couldn't understand one another, then there was no hope for interspecies cooperation at all. The Academy on Vorta 5 wasn't just a school. It was the place where the future of the galaxy learned how to survive together. And Zara's actions had the power to either build that future. From the outside, the Academy looked peaceful, with shining crystal, towers and glowing gardens that lit up the night. But the calm appearance didn't fool her. Underneath the beauty was tension, the kind that followed her everywhere she went. She couldn't stand still for 5 seconds without someone flinching, or whispering to their friend. Even species that no longer had predator instincts still reacted to her as if she were a threat waiting to happen. To Zara, it was exhausting. She didn't blame them for their biology, but she hated being judged by it. Her role at the Academy placed her directly in the Predator Behavioral Studies Unit. Of all the jobs she could have been given, she was placed with creatures every species considered dangerous. Because she was a human, they assumed she understood predators better than anyone else. Maybe, in some ways, that was true. But she was tired of being treated like a monster, people tolerated only because they had no choice still. She kept doing her job, every day. Even when cadets whispered things like, "What happens if she looks at you the wrong way?" Zara pretended. Not to hear, but each word stung. She didn't want to be feared. She wanted to be respected. And nothing made that clearer than the day the alarm sounded. When the call came in that the Viper delegation had arrived and that they brought cubs, Zara felt her pulse spike. The Vipers were one of the most feared predator species in the quadrant. They were quick, adaptable, and deadly when provoked. Every species avoided them. No one had figured out how to interact with them safely. Their cubs were even worse, unpredictable, territorial, and ready to strike at anything that moved. As Zara approached the observation deck, she felt the tension in the air growing. Cadets gathered together, trying to hide their fear. Even Commander Alex, a towering Regoyan, looked nervous. When the airlock opened and the Viper ambassador entered with 2 energetic cubs behind him, the room fell into complete silence. The Vipers were sleek, scaled, and moved with a kind of predatory grace that made every prey-descended species instinctively step back. The cubs hissed and darted around with excitement, causing the cadets to panic. But Zara didn't retreat. She knew why she had been called. Dr. Mion needed her to approach them. The Vipers wouldn't respect anyone else. They only respected true predators. Zara might not feel like one, but to them, she was. As Zara stepped forward, she could feel the room holding its breath. The Viper cubs noticed her immediately. They sensed her confidence, her calmness, her strength onto hers, and she knew exactly what was coming. The cub lunged, The cadets gasped in terror, but Zara didn't move. She didn't flinch, didn't step back, didn't even blink. Instead, she made a low, rumbling growl deep in her chest. Sound every predator instinctively understood. The cub froze mid-attack. For a moment, everything stopped. The air felt electric. The room was silent. Then, slowly, the cub lowered its body. It circled her once, cautious but curious. Then it relaxed. Respect, the kind predators gave to one another. Zara breathed out. She had passed the cub's test. For the first time, the cadets saw her not as a threat, but as someone who understood things they never could. Just when the room began to calm, alarms blared again. This time, it wasn't an arrival announcement. It signaled an attack. Panic spread instantly. Cadets ran for cover. The viper cubs hissed and bared their fangs, ready to strike at anything that moved. But Zara didn't panic. She stepped between the cubs and the danger, raising her voice with steady confidence. Stay calm. Stay close. Something shifted in that moment. HFY X Hill, the ambassador, looked surprised. The vipers, the most feared predators in the quadrant, adjusted their stance and followed her lead. They didn't see her as a threat anymore. They saw her as a leader. Moments later, security arrived and announced it was only a drill, a test exercise. But the moment still mattered. Everyone saw how Zara reacted under pressure. She protected the cubs. She kept order. She didn't act like a monster. She acted like a protector. As the tension faded, Zara turned to the group of cadets who had spent weeks fearing her. Their eyes no longer held panic. They held something new, understanding. They fear us because they don't understand us. Zara said quietly, "Fear isn't about what you can do. It's about who you choose to become when everything is on the line." For the first time since she arrived at the academy, Zara felt the icy barrier between her and the cadets begin to melt. They no longer looked at her like she was a danger. They looked at her like she was someone worth learning from. Someone who could bring species together instead of driving them apart. Maybe. She thought she wasn't as alone in the galaxy as she once believed. If Zara's story with the viper cubs captured your imagination, remember this galaxy is full of mysteries, dangers, and unexpected friendships waiting to be discovered. What other secrets lie beyond the stars? What fears still divide us, and can we truly overcome them? Tell us what you think in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling stories where humans defy expectations. Challenge the unknown and transform what it means to be a predator, a protector, and a hero. The journey is just beginning. Let's explore it together.